Yo, what's up everyone? It's KaBlamDayud! And today, I want to show you a concept that has fundamentally changed the way I make my sounds, as well as make music in general. I'm going to be talking about the concept of bass jams, or randomization as Subtronics likes to put it. So yeah, let's talk about it. Now this is a concept I've learned from the great producers Au5, Mr. Bill, and the beast of bass himself, Subtronics. All three of them describe this concept in their own unique ways, but in the end, the result is the same. Bass jams, or as Mr. Bill likes to call them mud pies, are essentially long audio recordings of a certain sound, in this case a bass sound, that contain a whole bunch of randomized parameters and variations over time, such as pitch bends, EQ stuff, even filtering, distortion, you name it. In other words, it's a big audio file with a lot of variations. The purpose of a bass jam is to save a lot of time on sound design by just recording so many different variations over time. Just so that way you don't have to spend countless hours, creating different variations from scratch, or in this case, duplicating the same variations over and over again and then like switching it out and stuff. By storing all of this information into one audio file, you literally can just drag the whole audio file into your project and create like a little freaking 2-bar loop and stuff and just scroll through the entire audio file and just find little nuggets of gold that actually fit with your project really well. Another big plus for this is that you use less CPU just using the audio file instead of having multiple serums up and stuff, because if you ever worked on a laptop, you know exactly the feeling it is when you have multiple serums up and it starts glitching out and everything because your CPU can't handle it and stuff. This will definitely help you out if you just take one big audio file filled with a bunch of variations and then just make something cool out of it. Subtronics demonstrated this really well and even discussed it really well in one of his live streams. He was basically showing a concept he was doing called randomization.
What I was saying, so I'm just going to start explaining this concept. It's the idea of randomization. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bunch of different effects and I'm going to automate a bunch of random parameters all together at the same time, and then I'm going to put like a stock basic note underneath it. I'm going to make a MIDI note, highlight the area. There's a bunch of different effects you can do to any sound really, but I'm gonna stack like 4 or 5 of them and automate a bunch of different stuff on them all at once. And I'll just show you like what some of these effects are. Off the bat, what should we do? So I'll do like tonal delay, and then what I'm gonna do, Command 4 to turn the grid off. I'm gonna grab this, turn pencil mode, press B. It's gonna fucking literally randomize that shit, bro. I draw a bunch of stuff, right? Cool. Done. Now what I'm gonna do, for the second thing, I'll grab like a frequency shifter and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna like randomize lines. This time I'm doing it with the fine knob. Coarse knob might be a little bit extreme, but I guess I'll get a grain delay. And I'm, in the same sense, I'm gonna fuck with this decay time here. Draw some squigglies. Cool. Kind of just like random jargled nonsense. Will it let me stretch it? Yes, it will. Yes. Going a little bit too fast for my liking. Not doing much yet. Now we're getting some sort of interestingness. Let's get a notch filter in here. Honestly, I'm just gonna finish it all off with some OTT. Pretty interesting for a stock serum sound.
This concept pretty much describes what a bass jam is in a nutshell. With bass jams, it can be a whole 5-minute recording or even a 10-minute recording. Doesn't matter how long you want to record it, just as long as you get as many different variations as you can out of it from many different effects and odd stuff you can put onto it. Au5 actually showed this off in his School of Bass course, where he literally recorded one whole sound for literally like almost 10.5 minutes and ended up freaking with a whole lot of variations in just one big audio file. What's even crazier and stuff is that he actually ended up using the same audio file that he made in this bass jam to freaking make Alien Weapon. Freaking Crazy, right? And Mr. Bill was basically discussing it with some students and all stuff in a classroom and all stuff at a seminar. He basically did the same thing that Subtronics and Au5 did, but at least he was showing how much fun it could be just for, like, you know, many other kinds of genres and stuff that you could do for it. This concept honestly blew my freaking mind, because for the longest time for me making music, I would literally just make one sound and then duplicate it, and then freaking make a different variation of that, and then duplicate it again, make a different variation of that, and then duplicate that, and so on and so forth. I'm sure every electronic music producer has actually done that and stuff, where you just duplicate, 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 duplicate. So really the idea of making just one sound and just modulating it over time, and then just recording it in the DAW, and then just saving the audio file for later, and then, you know, throwing it on a track and everything, that was actually pretty different from how I normally do stuff. It pretty much seemed like a pretty far out concept in my opinion. But instead of doing what I normally do with most ideas, where literally I just kind of like sit on it for a minute and then it eventually becomes irrelevant from memory, I actually ended up getting into the studio and trying it out myself. I even did a few of them on a couple of my live streams. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a Subtronics and all that stuff. We're gonna do a little Subtronics technique here called randomization. And then we're gonna do the same for the frequency shifter. And then we're gonna take that and probably put that like that, and then multiply. And we'll add a saturator on here. That gives some extra boost. I've never tried this one before, but we're gonna try this one out. A grain delay. Alright, cool. So then we're gonna take that, draw random squiggly boys. Actually not that bad. It could be much better though. Oh yeah, we're gonna actually have one more LFO and everything. This is gonna modulate the pitch. Alright, so we basically just did a bunch of random shit, put this in here and stuff, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna freeze this. Drag that down, click, unfreeze. Easy. Now it's a waveform. And now with this waveform, we can literally go in there, and what I literally like doing, I've actually been loving doing this lately, is I'll literally just like make this a small little block and everything, and I'll just freaking basically scroll through the whole audio form and find like little bits of gems and everything from the whole bass jam that I made and stuff. And then what we can do is we can take that, and if we want to, freaking go to clip, go to transpose, start messing around with the pitches in here. Okay, that sounds so fucking dope just like that. Honestly, I was really amazed at how fast I was able to make a drop just so quick, just by using just this one audio file. It was freaking ridiculous. So basically after that day, I began just making bass jams anytime I started just making a new song and stuff, just so that way I can just not lose the flow whenever I'm inside the project. Man, it's actually freaking crazy to think that just one big audio file full of sounds and variations and everything would basically be enough to supply everything you need to make your ideas come to life.